UVeye is pioneering AI for dealers, auctions, fleets, and assembly lines by automating high-resolution, full-body vehicle inspection images in the seconds it takes to pull into the service lane. Director of AI, Itai Orr, PhD, joins us live with the details. So say hello, make new friends, and learn from the best on ATI Auto Business. What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to ATI Auto Business, Automotive Ecosystem, where everyone learns more about the automotive industry. Let's get started with top industry news and headlines that include who pays on car shipping damage, what's going on with Powersports, and Super Dispatch Beck talks AI with Forbes magazine. At the quarter hour, we got Samantha Foster. She works in marketing communications at UVeye. At the half hour, Itai Orr, PhD, Director of AI, is with us to talk about AI and do a deeper dive into the details of UVeye and these innovations as they progress and the things we don't understand about AI that we don't fully understand. Okay, Jay, I think we got it. Please do jump into the live chat. Please do share, copy that link. Please do. Do you see a thumbs up on your YouTube screen? If you do, please click it. Hello YouTube, hello LinkedIn. This is show 349 in a row. UVeye, AI for dealers. And we are spending time with UVeye Vehicle Inspection Systems. This is Itai Orr. He is a PhD. He knows more than I do about how to say AI. Evolution of machine intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, generative AI. What is it? Where are we headed? And how does it work? We got Samantha Foster with us. She works in marketing and communications. We're going to catch up with Samantha first, and then we're going to bring in Itai. By the way, UVeye won an award at the Automotive News PACE Awards, and we're going to learn more about what that means. Know your ecosystem, OEM, dealer, auction, logistics, recon, remarketing, compliance, and tech. The AI takeover is happening on Tuesdays on ATI. So what is Runbot? You might have just seen another LinkedIn video drop that talks about what Runbot AI is. That you can actually, they talk to Runbot at Runbuggy. And you can learn more on that show. That was a really great show. Last week we had Dealer Logistics Recon Retail, the need for speed here on Automotive Ecosystem. And on Thursdays we do Industry Logistics, where we dive more into the logistics. Last week, Broker Do's and Don'ts. Not the most popular show. There was some good info there, though. Shippers can learn a lot from carriers. And I did drop this top 10 auto transport load boards video on LinkedIn. This thing is blowing up. Awesome. Which is really cool, because I started doing the top 10 in like 2016. And we have the updated top 10. And the criteria that I base that on, if you want to learn more about it, join us on Thursdays, or find the video on LinkedIn, or send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com, and let me know what you would like to add. Delivering automotive ecosystem news on Tuesdays. Here we go. So what happens if your car is damaged during a transport? You may have seen this. It happens more than we realize, but here's a news article diving into what happens when that happens. So there was a fire incident near Las Vegas Valley this past Thursday. Left many with questions about who would be responsible if their car was damaged while being transported. 6 vehicles transported on a car hauler were destroyed after the truck carrying them erupted in flames. The incident temporarily shut down the northbound ramp of the I-15 for an hour and a half. So what happens if that's your car? And who's responsible for the damage? The truck provides cargo insurance adequate to cover the amount of vehicles that they have on their truck, says Terry Williams, the GM of Auto Shipping Group. And there's no connection that he has with Thursday's incident. He's just explaining that, number one, research the company before you sign on. Do not go with just the cheapest rate and never give the money up front. On average, you're going to get damage less than 0.5% of the time that you ship a car. And the last thing you should do is aim for the cheap. Once the car is picked up, pay a deposit. Could be $200 to $400 after it's picked up. Then pay the balance to the truck when the vehicle's delivered. Do that. Got questions? Contact autotransportintel@gmail.com. Kia lawsuit, says dealer defrauded the automaker out of more than $500,000. That Dan O'Brien falsified hundreds of vehicle sales reports, then worked to cover up the scheme. Now, I don't get into every bankruptcy and law infraction, but this one's interesting. Kia America accused the New England dealer, 5 of his former dealerships, 1 current dealership, and the group's COO of racketeering. Wow. That they allegedly bilked the automaker out of hundreds of thousands of dollars in unearned sales incentives. So that sounds like a pattern. Allegedly submitted hundreds of fraudulent retail delivery reports of purported new Kia vehicles. O'Brien sold his 3 Kia stores, Subaru dealership, and an Infiniti store. And his final attempt of sale, the last dealership he had, fell through when the purchaser learned of alleged false warranty claims submitted to the automaker. The complaint in the New Hampshire case says O'Brien's decision to dispose of the dealerships was a result, in whole or in part, of his and his dealership's fraudulent and unethical business practices. And here's another problem. It says other Kia stores were victimized by the alleged false sales reporting scheme because O'Brien stores received allocations of new vehicles that would have otherwise gone to those dealerships during a time when demand exceeded supply. Sounds punitive. And so we'll just get this out of the way. I just saw this today. Vote likely to determine the fate of NIADA president-elect after wife and business partner pleads guilty to a tax charge. NIADA is right around the corner. Starts June 17th, opening day of a 4-day convention. And there's a thorny, potentially contentious issue expected to be on the agenda involving President-elect Mike Darrow. On April 16th, Darrow's wife Carol pleaded guilty in federal court to a charge of willfully failing to collect or pay over tax, a felony that can carry a prison sentence up to 5 years. That's a lot. While serving as controller of the Auto Finders, Durham, North Carolina independent dealership owned by the Darrows, Carol failed to remit $346,000 plus in withheld employee payroll taxes to the IRS over the span of 5 years. Yeesh. Mike Darrow, who was not charged, sent an email. He knew nothing of the issue until the day of the guilty plea when his wife called to tell him while she was on her way to court and explain the situation. He said he was not contacted by the IRS or the U.S. Attorney's Office during the investigation. Scheduling his sentence for July 9th, Darrow said Carroll is not likely to get prison time as the company repaid the IRS on April 26th. Okay. So what's up with Powersports? Automotive retailers diversify portfolios by entering the Powersports segment. But why? Number one, here we go. Teddy Moore said riding motorcycles makes you feel like the star of your own movie. And adjourned. Do you need anything else? Powersports, by definition, includes any motorized vehicles that the riders guide with handlebars, including motorcycles, all-terrain vehicles, snowmobiles, and personal watercraft. Personally, that definition helped me out. I didn't know exactly. That's good to know. Sonic announced its entry into the Powersports segment in February 2023, acquiring 13 locations that year and in 2022. Lithium Motors bought its first Harley-Davidson store in 2021 in Canada, added 6 stores selling RVs in 2022. There is a lot more to know, but I just want to add this. Expected customer engagement is part of the learning curve, from selling brand merchandise to hosting community events. Passion separates this business. Auto retail customers generally buy for necessity, but Powersports buyers, they are buying for recreation. So it's not the exact same thing. DP World provides vehicle solution for Mexico-U.S. trade route. Okay, I'm listening. June 2024, DP World will offer an industry-first 53-foot intermodal container solution to transport cars via rail from Mexico to the U.S. and Canada. Stay with me. I know. What's the new information here, Jay? Well, the service is based on loading finished vehicles into containers directly at factories in Mexico or at designated stuffing yards close to the manufacturing hubs. The containers are trucked to intermodal ramps, moved by rail to LA, Chicago, Detroit, and Toronto. At destination, the containers are trucked from the rail ramp to designated yards where the cars are unloaded and trucked to the dealerships. Door-to-door transits range from 8 to 14 days, depending on the route. Estimated that the new service will enable additional 30,000 finished vehicles to be transported. Okay, here we go. Traditional 40-foot containers typically house a maximum of 4 cars. But the 53-foot long containers now, from DP World, can accommodate up to 6 vehicles, significantly enhancing efficiency while reducing costs for the OEM. That's an extra 2 cars per container. DP World's new cars and containers innovation comes as the automotive logistics industry in North America continues to face challenges caused by row and multi-level railcar capacity shortages. So Beck Abdullayev, founder and CEO of Super Dispatch, he talked about 5 ways AI is quickly transforming auto transport management. Number 1, route optimization. Drivers can optimize their routes using AI-powered tools that analyze rapidly changing factors such as traffic and weather patterns against delivery schedules and locations. Number 2, pricing and quoting. Taking into consideration variable logistics factors, along with carrier fees, taxes, and tolls, AI can forecast accurate shipment quotes. Number 3, load matching and bundling. With the help of AI-powered platforms, load suggestions can be tailored to meet the unique needs of drivers and carriers based on factors such as location, capacity, and delivery deadlines. Number 4, damage inspections. AI technologies can swiftly and accurately identify any damages. Number 5, customer service and communication. From automating repetitive administrative duties to providing accurate quotes and swiftly resolving issues, AI-driven solutions are elevating customer service standards. And there are your 5 ways AI is changing logistics. This, in fact, is a Super Dispatch online BOL. We're going to be talking about this on Thursday on Industry Logistics as we talk about digital BOLs compared. So join us for that. Thursday at noon. U.S.-backed EV charger network grows at a snail's pace despite $5 billion investment. No, I'm not excited, but I am surprised. Or am I? The federal government committed billions of dollars to a program that would help states create a network of charging stations in 50-mile intervals along interstate highways. Great idea, by the way. Great idea. More than 2 years later, only 8 stations are open. Wow. Is that real? They are in just 6 states, even though this is intended to be a national undertaking. Really? Man, can we get some fact checkers? The sluggish rollout underscores the complexity of constructing a nationwide fueling infrastructure led by states. There is no uniform way to build it. Really? Sheesh. But Einride becomes Peterbilt's biggest BET customer. What? Einride, if you haven't heard of Einride, they're going to buy 150 Model 579 EV battery electric trucks from Peterbilt. Peterbilt's making battery electric trucks? Yeah. And the truck maker's biggest EV order so far. Stockholm headquartered Einride, more commonly known as an autonomous electric vehicle pioneer, plans to use the day cab tractors in its regional haul trucking as a service, TAAS, trucking as a service. And these guys are progressive. Einride's 579 EV deliveries are set to start late 2024. It is happening. EVs are happening. Autofleet launches an AI program, Autofleet, an optimization platform for fleets and transportation providers, announced the launch of Autofleet Nova, the industry's first fleet-specific large language model, LLM, AI. powered by advanced AI to help fleet operators use plain language to gain comprehensive insights across their operations. Using Nova, fleet professionals can get answers that are both comprehensive and would otherwise require complex queries and coding by a team of analysts and developers. That sounds useful. Nova has been specifically created to work on fleet domain data across a wide range of fleet data sources such as demand data, trips and reservations, supply data, vehicle telematics, and infrastructure data, parking, charging, fueling, workshops. This allows fleet operators to use plain language queries to gain previously inaccessible insights, identify optimization opportunities, analyze issues, and even take action. Or you can just make random phone calls, like we have been. Leverage ATI in your business. AI, ATI, Itai Orr. It's here. We got UVeye. Contact us. Let us know how we can help get the podcast and know your ecosystem. All right, here we go. What we're going to do is we're going to bring in Samantha Foster. She is the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications at UVeye. She's going to join us. We're going to catch up for a minute. Don't miss it. Stick around. We'll be right back after this.
The evolution of transportation. In the beginning of car shipping, there were stone tablets and woolly mammoths, very primitive vehicle delivery. Then, horse-powered haulers with mile-long paper BOLs causing enormous time hassle and massive stacks of paperwork for dealers, shippers, and carriers. What were we thinking? But now, with modern technology and cell phone mobile apps, simply click a button, order quick, reliable auto transport to pick up and deliver your cars safely and on time. It's instant car shipping at the best market rate. Start saving money today and get signed up. Visit oneauctionview.com.
Are you completely stressed out from all the calls and the contracts and the verifications of loads where nobody ever answers the phone? Call Murphy Auto Dispatch Services today. Murphy Auto Dispatch Services has over 15 years in the transport industry. We are your office while you are on the road. We book, we verify, and we bill out your loads for you. We have an excellent accounting staff and an even better dispatch team. Give us a call today at 417-273-0021, or if you want to email me, it's murphyautotransport31@yahoo.com. Give us a call today.
You need help shipping a car or staying loaded? Murphy Auto Transport Services is a fully licensed broker and offers professional dispatch services. She's also my co-host on Thursdays. Visit murphyautotransportservices.com. All right, here we go. Please do help me wish a very warm welcome to Samantha Foster of UVeye. Samantha, you can see me and hear me okay?
I can see you, I can hear you. Unlike NIADA. Oh my goodness,
Oh, shoot. That's
right. Remember that? I was flying blind.
Okay, so for anybody that missed it, okay, and that was February, right?
Yeah.
February? Okay. You're in the booth at NADA. You're in the UVeye booth. There's the car, there's people. Who else? I mean, you had a lot of people in your booth, like coming and going, but...
A lot of people.
A lot of people. And so... And I had talked you into doing a live segment, but it's easier said than done to just go live at a show to be able to hear who you're talking to. And so we were having audio problems. But I kept saying, go, do it again, go again, Samantha, because I thought of it kind of like a film set. All right? Take one. We could use part of it. Take two, we can use part of it. Take three, we can use part of that. So then I edited together the pieces of the 3 takes, and that final video, you would never know what you had to go through.
Now the real question is, did you use AI to piece those 3 together?
Well, so I did not use AI. I used JI. Okay. Never said that before, by the way. Probably never say it again. All right, so... We're talking about UVeye. Why don't you do this? Tell us a little bit more about what you do, who you are, and then where we're headed with this.
Okay, great. So for any viewers who don't know me, I've been on Jay's show a couple different times now. But for those of you that don't know me, my name's Samantha Foster. I'm the Senior Director of Marketing and Communications for UVeye. I've been with the company for 2.5 years, which seems so crazy, right, Jay? How much it has changed in just 2.5 years. So I've been working in the AI space for those 2.5 years. And prior to that, I spent 9 years in a top 150 dealership group. So I built all of our marketing departments from the ground up, as well as all of our BDCs. So I was really, in the grind to be able to come into this startup, which really UVeye, we don't even really look at it as a startup anymore. We kind of look at it as the scale up phase because we're just growing so quickly. And, in the beginning of my career here, we did a lot of educating on what automated vehicle inspection systems would look like inside of the dealership. But over the last 2.5 years, I think the dealers have educated us sometimes more than we educated them. And they really can see it in their dealerships. They see the benefits. They're really able to deep dive into processes and easily kind of move their processes to fit our technology that is AI driven. So perfect for your AI series this year.
It is perfect, and I thank you for helping me put this together. You said startup, and yeah, I'm gonna say, I probably nobody still thinks of UVI as a startup, right?
No, I think
No,
we're past it.
you
It's
are
it's a
past
hard
that.
thing to let go of, but I think we're past it.
Yeah,
We know what
well,
to tell ourselves.
because in your world, okay, you just said 9 years, top dealerships, all that time spent, energy, 2.5 years into this, and this is, I mean, it's really taken off. UVI is everywhere.
Yeah, it's been, 2.5 years. It's been a crazy road. This year we had some exciting news. We actually won the 2024 Automotive News PACE Award. And we not only won this award, but to our surprise, we won two awards at the event. We also won the 2024 Automotive News PACE Partnership Innovation Award, which actually highlighted our collaboration with General Motors and our partnership and really propelling automated vehicle inspection forward. So it was really a milestone, I would say, in the UVI path. It was really exciting to be a part of, and I know our co-founders and everybody at UVI joined in the celebration because it was one of those things that we really had to prepare for. There were multiple times that we had to go in front of judges, and then our technology kind of stood alone in front of judges. It was a more in-depth award to be vetted out for. So to see us win such prestigious awards was a really exciting moment for us this year.
Yeah, that is really neat. I mean, Automotive News is a top name in automotive news, appropriately. And I just want to say that what I did was, I'm gonna share your site here for a second. Just to I like to before a show check the home page, make sure I know. And I saw right here, dealers, auctions, fleets, and assembly lines. Like, you're really hitting the nerves of automotive. And not only hitting them, but partnering. I'm assuming that's part of the acceleration of the success, the innovation, which is where we are headed with this show. We're going to take a detour rather than selling, because we don't need to. You do that. Tell me, by the way, before we move on, you do live demos at dealerships, right?
We do. So we do dealer demo days, and we go live at dealerships, and we have our dealer partners talk about what they're doing. So really, to hear it from us is powerful, but to hear our dealer partners talking about how they utilize it, what they love about it, what they're selling with it, how it's streamlined their processes, dealers can really relate to other dealers. So we think it's a really powerful partnership to be able to have those dealer demo days. And it's really great to see dealerships opening their doors to other dealerships, kind of like, we all should be rowing this way. And so I think there's a power in partnership.
The dealer demo days, and I'm sharing this because I learned this. At first I didn't understand. What you're doing is you're going to a dealership that already has a UVeye system and welcoming in other dealers to see this thing in action. Like you said, I think that's really neat. Is there, just here's a curveball, is there a calendar of that? I've seen some mention. Is that an ongoing, is it weekly? Tell me more about that calendar.
Yeah, so right now we're actually setting up some live ones that will be virtual. We are also we try to do it on more of a quarterly basis. So we're about to announce a few more, and these are always on our events page. So once we have more additional dealer demo days, any of our live virtual webinars, even this, it's on our events page right on our website.
Well, shoot. All right, cool. That's awesome. All right, so rather than continuing down, what we could do, and I think we kind of did the last time we had you here, is we talked more about what is UVeye, what are the products, what are the technology, and you have names like Helios and stuff, but we're going to take a detour into AI. And so Itai Orr, PhD, Director of AI at UVeye, he's going to take the podium and he's going to try to lose us.
He's gonna lose you. It's tough.
Okay,
He's gonna.
That's what I want.
I tried to act
me.
really smart today, and I was even telling him my AI story that I was so excited about. I was like, "Oh, Itai," and I'm sure he just is next level. It's something that's really incredible for us to add to UVeye, a director of AI, with how quickly technology is changing. To have a director of AI really helping us push forward is going to help us definitely help our dealers create enhancements at rapid speed. So it's really exciting to have AI. Itai.
Right? Okay, so it's not just me. I started saying AI, then ATI, then my name, and I got confused. Maybe there's something to this.
Jay.
I know.
But I have to tell you a story.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you a quick story before we let Itai on. So during spring break this year, my kids and I went to Scottsdale, Arizona. And so in Scottsdale, my cousin actually works in the mobility industry too. She works for Carvana in HR. And so she was telling me and the kids about Waymos, which are the autonomous driving, basically like Uber style vehicles. And I was like, no way. Is this safe to like put my kids in? Because one of my kids is still in a car seat. So we had to bring the car seat into the Waymo and like set it up really quick. And I was like, is it going to drive away while I'm setting up this car seat? Very, very concerned about this. So we decided just to take a 5-minute ride to an ice cream place so that my kids could actually experience an autonomous vehicle. And myself, I've never been in one either. So I actually sent a video to Itai right before we got on here that it's really awesome when we got in. And I'm sure these are things he had already seen before. But when we got in, it was like, hello, Samantha, please buckle up for your safety. It gives you kind of like a description of what's going to happen. It says change the music. You can see everything as you're driving, even the people on the sides, every car that's coming each way, what way you're going. And so at one point, we were making a left turn and it was kind of making just small little jolts. And I sent Itai this video of my youngest, who's only 5, laughing hysterically, telling me it's dancing. The car is dancing. The car is dancing. It was hysterical. But even my kids' reactions in the video, like, this is just wild to be in a vehicle driving itself. Just in awe. They were in awe. I was in awe. And
I'm trying to imagine it. Yeah, and you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking like Disneyland. I'm thinking like, these first times that we've done something, and I can't think of the comparison, But I can imagine, and I'm glad you said those things too, because I didn't know that there would be audio that would help me feel more comfortable. I didn't know that I'd be able to see, because I've never ridden in an autonomous vehicle. And Waymo is, I think, at the top of like innovation, and that is their testing market, Phoenix.
I think it is their testing market.
So. But it's
my
not
kids
just testing. I mean, they've been doing it for, over a year, I think.
Yeah, and they were all over Scottsdale. I mean, there were quite a few of them. From that point forward, my kids were picking them out every time we got on the road. There's a Waymo. There's a Waymo.
Oh my
you
gosh.
know, it really...
The ads make themselves, don't they? Like, just videos of kids getting excited about them. That's the ad campaign right there.
That is that.
We'll save millions. Yeah.
Yeah, well, you want to know what I will say, that in this, application of AI, it's really interesting how it just gives a level of experience, like a different experience, an elevated level of experience. So it was really cool. I wanted to leave you with my AI story. Had to get it in there for you, Jay.
You did. So, all right. So you're going to introduce Itai, and then you're going to go during commercial break? Is that what we're going to do?
Yep, I'm going to leave you. I'm going to let you two talk all about AI.
You're going to leave me alone with him?
Yes.
Oh, no.
But I think you're going to be okay. I think you're going to be in good hands. You're going to learn a couple things. I'm going to watch on the sideline and cheer you guys on.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm going to need it. I don't know if I studied up enough, so I'm going to do my best. But I will say this about AI, and that is the reason I'm doing autonomous AI learning, talking, is that I've started using some AI programs, not just ChatGPT, but I'm starting to use a couple multimedia AI programs, and they're blowing my mind. And people I talk to about AI and what they're using, I mean, everybody's kind of excited. Yes, we talk about, well, it does mean this, whatever this is. But the purpose of AI is to keep you from having to do monotonous tasks over and over and over. Or even tasks that felt monotonous because they were complex and you didn't have enough time to do them fast enough. So AI is exciting. I just want to say that before Itai gets here. AI is exciting. Samantha, thank you so much for taking the time. We'll see you in the live chat. We'll be in touch.
Thanks, Jay. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. Please do stand by, because we're going to bring in Itai right after this. We'll be right back.
AuctionVCommerce is the universal support solution to help brick-and-mortar auctions respond to the needs of digital buyers and sellers with greater efficiency, accountability, and more access. AuctionVCommerce is a bridge between the dealers of the past and the auction of the future.
Transport Auto Quoter is by far the leading auto quoting software on the market, and the only auto quoter with a pro version that comes preset with accurate pricing for anywhere in the US, so you don't have to worry about it. The best part is that no change with your current software is needed. Just plug TAQ in and start booking jobs. Carriers can easily plug TAQ into their current websites and start making money right away. I bet you're wondering how we do this instantly and accurately 24/7. Well, constant analytics is the key. Our Price Watch team is constantly monitoring current market conditions, paying close attention to seasonal and quick-moving industry changes. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of time and data to maintain good pricing, time that most of us just don't have on a daily basis. So free yourself up. Using TAQ Pro is really a no-brainer. Save time and money, maximizing your leads and optimizing your online investments. You'll finally be able to sleep well at night knowing that TAQ is on the job selling for you 24/7. Never missing a potential job.
Don't lose any more sleep worrying about missing leads. Get Transport Auto Quoter to quote the right price the first time, every time. Run your business with TAQ. Visit transportautoquoter.com. All right, here we go. Please do help me wish a warm welcome. Thank you so much to Itai Orr, PhD, Director of AI at UVeye. Can you see
Hi,
me and
Jay.
hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi, Jay.
All right,
It's
good.
thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's great to have you here. What we're doing is okay. So I have. It wasn't long ago because AI is so new that I said, all right, every month I'm going to try to feature somebody in AI to just kind of blow our minds a little bit. And Samantha said, oh, well, that's Itai. We talked briefly, maybe a couple weeks ago, so I don't know much. But I know that, you started talking about like deep learning, generative AI, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. First, let's talk about today. What's happening today with UVeye, AI technology, and why does it work so well? What's going on?
Sure. So I think the UVI technology story is sort of like pushing the bounds and the state of the art of what a deep learning and AI has to offer at every given time of the company's lifetime. If you look at the tech stack, is really a combination of disciplines that we're incorporating. We're incorporating algorithms from classical computer vision, classical signal processing. We're incorporating algorithms from machine learning, classical machine learning, and most of our technology stack revolves around deep learning, as you mentioned. And recently, we've also started to venture off and incorporate generative AI into the tech stack. But I think if you look at the entire solution, it's a combination of the different tools that we have, and combining them into an interesting and clever way gives us the extraordinary performance that we see with our customers.
Now, I've got some presentation slides, and I can share them at any time. Should I bring up a slide, or would that be helpful?
Yeah, sure.
All right, let's do that. Okay. So, and then this is the main website, which we may come back to. All right. For anybody that doesn't know, again, let's just hit it one more time. UVeye is a what? What is UVeye?
I would say UVI is a data company. Our most valuable asset is the data that we gather, that we learn from. This enables us to create more valuable products to our customers. This enables us to create value for our customers. But the data also allows us to build more robust systems and teach our algorithms and improve our capabilities over time. The entire setup, the cameras, all the hardware is a means for us to create the data sets, to enable to capture the data. At the end of the day, the algorithm, which are the core of the system, they are a means to extract value from the data and provide it to our customers. And let's skip a slide, and I think we can show people a demo of what the system looks like. Actually, this was a video. Do you have the video itself?
Oh, I did not understand what this slide was trying to tell me. I don't think I have the video.
You want me to share it?
Yeah, if you can, that'd be great. I believe I've allowed sharing. I'm going to stop sharing. Please do. That'd be great.
Sure, let me look for it.
While he's doing that, thanks for jumping in the live chat. Now, I know we went early today. Most people don't know why we would start so early. We did that so that we could accommodate a tie schedule because we really wanted them here. So if you're not live, if you're on demand, please leave a like. Feel free to comment below, ask your questions, and I can see your screen now. And take it away. Cool.
Sure. So this is a vehicle, or this is a vehicle running through our system, and this short video really shows you how the algorithms see the vehicle when it drives through. We have a series of cameras running all around the vehicle, from the sides, from the top, from the bottom, from below the vehicle to capture the undercarriage. And we have about 12 cameras. It depends on the setup of the system. We take videos, a series of pictures from each camera. In each time vehicles go through our system, we take about a few hundreds of images, say 500 or 700 images. And the images are very, very high resolution. This allows us to really capture all those really tiny dents and scratches. Sometimes they are even a pixel wide, just a single pixel wide, which is very hard to detect. And we also, of course, capture all those larger extreme damages or severe damages that we find. And once we have all those images, we put them through the processing pipeline. And like I mentioned before, the processing pipeline is I would say, is an interesting combination of different algorithm families. Some will be classical, some will be deep learning, some will be generative AI. The output of each step is the input to the next step. And over the series of the algorithms or the series of the pipeline, we slowly build an image. We slowly build the understanding of what each image contains. We classify what we see. We segment what we see. We merge if we see the same thing, the same damage over time in different point of view. We merge those together. We cluster them together. And at the end of the scan, which the computation usually takes about a few seconds. So by the time that the vehicle finishes the scan, a few seconds after we would finish the computation. And the output itself is what you see as a customer on the widescreen at the dealership. You would see the wheels. You will see the detections on the wheels. We detect the wheel wear and tear. We detect foreign objects in the wheel. You will be able to see the undercarriage. You'll be able to see all the dents around the vehicle, et cetera, et cetera. On the right side of the image, what you see is it's sort of like an intermediate output from the system. The system has a bunch of deep learning models. Some are trained to detect scratches. Some are trained to detect the car parts. Some are trained to detect dents, and so on and so on. And when we put them all together, you see the compiled or aggregated view of the entire vehicle, as you see in the right side of the image.
Wow. I was able to follow most of that. And what it made me think of, when I watched The Matrix, beyond just being dazzled by that movie, I want to think that I could learn how to read the lines of code to see what they see. And so when I watch this, I kind of think of that a little bit like you're mixing human interpretation of data and images with machine output. Is that right? Kinda? Conceptually?
I think that conceptually you are on the point with generative AI.
Okay.
I think that
Great. I'll take that.
I think it's a good question because it brings us to the next slide. If you look at AI or how artificial intelligence in general evolved over time, I think this has great correlation to how UVeye's technology evolved over time. At the beginning, we had model-based algorithms. Model-based algorithms meaning that you have an analytical solution to a given problem. An example algorithm will be Fourier transform, will be simple integrals, simple derivatives, anything that I can write an equation to describe the problem that I'm trying to solve, meaning that I can create a model of the problem. But not every problem is easy to model. Some problems are very, very hard to model, and creating the model of the problem is even harder than solving it. This is one of the greatest strengths of machine learning and deep learning based approaches. They go from being a model-based approach to a data-driven approach. meaning I let the data, or I am exploiting the data that I have on the problem in order to model the solution. Maybe not the problem, maybe implicitly to model the problem, but I'm modeling the solution. So with classical machine learning and model-based approaches, you are the engineer, the developer, the algorithm researcher is heavily involved in crafting all the features and all the combination between them in order to get the final prediction. And what we saw over time is that the human ingenuity is capped. In simple problems, you are if the problem is analytically solvable, then okay, you're better off trying it with an analytical model. And in general, whenever you're trying to solve a very difficult type of problem, if you have an analytical solution, that will be the preferred way to go in most cases. But in very difficult problems, like the ones that we try to solve with UVeye, the analytical solutions won't give you the performance that your customers require. You have to get to a very high grade of accuracy, very low rate of false positives, very high precision, very high recall, and more. So you have to go to the data-driven world and the data-driven algorithms, so data-based algorithms. And then, okay, you're in the machine learning spectrum. So machine learning, the classical machine learning, the engineer will handcraft features, put them together in a clever way, and form a prediction or form the output of the algorithm. But as we said, in the difficult problems, the difficult cases, this approach will usually get you to a capped or some way, it's not a dead end, but you usually don't get to all of the product requirements that your customers will want. And then enters deep learning. So deep learning is not a new concept. Deep learning has been around for decades now. There was a very long winter with the deep learning. And I think the renaissance and I would say the big bang or the renewal of deep learning into the center stage was in 2012. There was a famous competition called ImageNet. It was a competition organized by several key people, for example, Fei Li from Stanford. And in the competition, you have to classify images. And using the model-based approaches and using classical machine learning, this is a very difficult problem. The results were stagnant for a few years, and there wasn't any real progress. Or there was, but it wasn't a major disruption or jump in the performance. And in 2012, there's a famous group by Jeffrey Hinton, and they introduced the first deep learning model. What they did there was they combined between neural networks or deep neural networks. They combined those algorithms with the computation, that is the GPUs or the CUDAs, the CUDA implementation on a GPU. And they combined it with the data set that is the ImageNet. And the result that they achieved was a very high, I think it was like more than a 50% improvement or 25% improvement over the second place. It was a very big jump in the performance. You with me, Jay?
Yeah, I took the well, first of all, I took my video away because I didn't want to distract from you, and then
Sure.
put the spotlight on you, and then I was thinking, so in a nutshell, what you just said, because you did lose me, how did they achieve a 50% gain in I don't want to say gain of function, that's Fauci talk, in improvement? What happened? What did they do?
Yeah, I don't remember if it's really 50 or 20 or 30,
Yeah.
but it was a very big jump.
Significant.
Yeah, very significant. I think it was the combination of three things, and that is the fuel to the modern deep learning era, to the modern AI era. That is the algorithms, the deep neural networks, which are not new, but they revived them. The second, which is that is the big marriage, that is the data. They had the ImageNet data set. It's a very large data set of images. And the computation, the GPUs from NVIDIA and the CUDA software to run them efficiently. The problem with deep learning models is that they are very big in teaching them, learning, in fine-tuning them in order to solve a problem takes a very long time if you don't have the right hardware. And that was, I would say, I think one of the major inhibitors to the adaptation in widespread of the technology, because we didn't have a way to create very big neural networks and train them in a reasonable commercial timeline. They just took too long to train.
And so, trying to come back to where we are, is that, are you saying then, I mean, UVeye employs AI networks, these deep networks where you're entering data and it somehow knows what to do with it? Because one of the things I was also thinking was, there is a lot on the line, right? To tell an automaker or a dealership, I don't want to freak anybody out, but right, there's a lot on the line here, but it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So in order to make it work, if let me retract it. Whenever you are employing a data-driven approach, you don't have necessarily a mathematical guarantee of your solution. It's not an analytical solution. And yet it works, and it works better than most analytical solutions in most of the times. Take, for example, autonomous driving. Most of the tech stack that you see in Waymo, for example, most of the tech stack is deep learning. I would say the vast majority of it is deep learning. So how does it work if you're not guaranteed to a solution? And there are ways to guarantee the performance or the performance envelope or the functional safety of your deployment system. And in UVeye, we employ methodologies, the development validation methodologies. We employ them, and we borrowed and took concepts from safety in automotive. I've been around the automotive industry for most of my career, and we've adapted the same methodologies that you use for developing autonomous vehicles, the same methodologies that you develop all the safety features that you have in your vehicles today, like ACC, AEB, lane keeping, et cetera, et cetera. We took those methodologies and we applied them to our system, the automated vehicle inspection. And this really puts your algorithms to the test. I would say the closer you get to production, the more emphasis you put on validation. We validate and we QA and we revalidate and we retest. We do beta site testing, and we really put the algorithms and system to a battery of examinations and tests in order to make sure that once we deploy to our customers, the precision is extremely high, the recall is pretty high, the false alarm is as low as we can get it. And it's much better than even a human could have done it with his own eyes.
I follow, teaching it rules and, giving it all the knowledge. But I think where our minds get blown, because then again, in an autonomous driving situation, for the most part, that car is just following rules based on many different scenarios. And it can access large databases of information instantaneously, much like a human being would or could, given the experience. Am I close? Is that fair?
Okay, so let me correct you. You were close about 20 years ago.
Boy.
So I'm exaggerating, 10 years ago. So the old type of systems, they were rule-based. You had a bunch of rules. If you encounter this, then do that. If then. And if you are trying to solve a very simple case, if your environment is quite, I would say, not very complex, this might work. But the real world is much messier, and it's much more complex. And what the industry and academia found is that these type of approaches, the rule-based approaches, are not scalable. You will not be able to get to higher levels of autonomy. There are levels to autonomy, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You will not be able to get to higher levels of autonomy if you follow this path. It will be capped. The tree of decisions, the decision tree will be just too broad. today's modern system also rely on deep learning to create the policy, the plan. And today, the tech stack of an autonomous vehicle or a robot or our system in UVeye is a series of modules. Each module can be a neural network or a deep neural network, an algorithm, and it's responsible for a specific task. The first ones will be sensing. I need to understand what I'm looking at. Or a module after that will be perception, understanding what I'm looking at. Is this a car? Is this a person? Where is the road? Where are the lanes? Where is my scratch? Where is the window? Okay, perception. After that, if you are driving in an autonomous vehicle, you will do planning. You will plan your route. And do I need to go right? Do I need to go left? Do I need to accelerate? Do I need to brake? Those will be the outputs of my planning. After planning, this comes down to low-level control. I need to actually send the commands to the actuators of the vehicle. In autonomous vehicles, sometimes the planning and control are mixed together. In ADAS, it's usually separated. And you have your functions, your lane keep assist, your automatic cruise control, or automatic emergency braking, et cetera, your functions. The output of the function is the low-level signals to your vehicle actuators, the wheels, the accelerators, the brakes.
So I think you kind of explained why, because I think a lot of people, what happens then is with AI, with this type of technology that's kind of hard to understand, you go to the worst case scenario. I remember years ago, like 5 years ago, when they were talking about autonomous vehicles, if you asked a lawyer, they were like, nope, never going to happen. Not, no. And I thought, well, it seems that way, but I don't think that that's what's really going to happen. I can't prove it. I just think that somehow, and I guess we were operating on the if-then type thinking. And even now, and I know that many drivers don't want to think of 80,000-pound trucks rolling down the highway without them, and many other drivers don't want to think of 80,000-pound trucks driving down the highway around them. But you're saying with module-based AI systems that it is doable, even though it sounds freaky.
Okay,
by
so
words.
yeah, sure. So let me try to organize the answer. Proving that autonomous vehicles is possible hasn't been done yet. No company has been able to prove that level 5 autonomy, the ability to drive everywhere every time is possible. No one has done it yet. Currently, the industry sits around level 2, level 2 plus, level 2 plus plus. There are levels to autonomy. One of the main bridges is level 3. Difference between level 2 and a level 3 system is who's liable for an accident. In a level 2 type of system, which is most of the vehicles that you see on the road today, all the Teslas, all the Mobileye's, all the Fords, all the GMs, most of those systems are level 2. There you see in the middle. It's partial automation. The driver is liable if there's an accident. You will have features like similar to what we just said before, ACC, AEB, lane keep, et cetera, et cetera. Most of the generic stuff that you have in your vehicles today. Jumping to level 3, the OEM, the car maker, is responsible for an accident, is liable in the case of an accident. And this is a very, very, very hard legal and financial hurdle to traverse. And what the OEMs have been doing is actually trying to avoid it. Some OEMs or some companies said, let's skip level 3, let's go straight to level 4. Level 4 is, I would say, very high automation, very high. The vehicle is essentially autonomous in a very wide range of environments. And level 5 is full automation. There's no steering wheel. You don't even to pay attention to anything. But level 3 between level 2 and level 3. This is where we are today in 2024. We are even so deep between level 2 and 3 that there was a separate categories that invented actually by Mobileye. They invented level 2 plus, level 2 plus plus to sort of stretch the performance envelope, but not to make the OEMs liable for any accidents. That is the main business between, or the main rationale, business rationale between behind level 2 plus and level 2 plus plus. Having the driver, having the vehicle being more capable as far as the technology or as far as the functionality, but the driver is still liable, not the OEMs. There are a very, very few examples of level 3 programs already in production. Mercedes, for example, is a good case. There are also a few of them in China. And they are very confined to highways at low speeds and sort of like a traffic jam pilot or traffic jam auto assist, something like that. And this even goes a few steps more than that. This also affects the type of sensors and the type of architectures that are being employed. A level 2 system is very, very different from a level 3 and a level 4 system. And let's talk about the sensors. In low-cost vehicles, let's say the L1s and L2s, you will mostly find cameras and maybe low-end radars. Cheaper sensors. The compute is not very intense. This helps drive the cost of the vehicle down because it's a mass deployment, mass consumer. You want the cost to be down.
Oh, the tie froze. Let's see here. Do you froze for a second? Can you see me? Okay.
Yeah, I can see you fine.
Okay, good. You finish your thought because I wanted to ask you about. So I was just thinking about Too Simple, autonomous trucking company. Do you know? Have you seen that?
Sure. Yeah. I'm noting simple. There's Aurora. There's a very, very interesting autonomous trucks. So I'll finish with the L3 and then I'll get to the trucks. So with L3, most OEMs add an additional sensor. They add the LiDAR. Okay. So in L3 system, you have cameras with higher resolution. You have more of them. You have high-end radars that can see in very high resolution and for farther away. And you have LiDARs that have very, very high resolution and have the ability to really distinguish between very fine objects. They're more sensitive to weather conditions, but they have very high resolution. And in L4 and 5, you have all these expensive hardware and expensive compute. All of that cost, the expensive hardware, sensors, compute, really drives the cost up. It drives it so much that the only two viable business models that are left for autonomous vehicles, L4, L5, are two things. One is robotaxi, like Waymo, for example, or there are other robotaxi models, and trucks. Because the price of a truck is much more expensive, you can bear the cost of the additional sensors. And it's a commercial application. It's not a private person. It's not a consumer-based application. It's a commercial-based application. With trucks, Aurora is very, very interesting. And there are several other companies that are pushing the envelope of what's being tried and thought capable using the system. One of the main difficulties in autonomous trucks is the range that the sensor have to look very, very far away. So a truck has a very, very long stopping distance, much longer than a private vehicle. The sensor needs much longer range. So it puts a very high burden on the resolution and on the field of view, and on the type of sensors, the radars, the LiDARs that you need to employ, which again drives the cost up. One of the interesting things with autonomous trucks is that the way we see the technology being deployed sort of correlates to the difficulty of the operational design domain. Operational design domain is called ODD. In a highway, it's much simpler than in an urban scenario. Okay, urban environment is very, very difficult to drive if you compare that to highway driving. So what we are seeing, some of the solutions that are already being tried and deployed is that having a person drive the last mile or the first mile from the warehouse to the highway exit, for example, then have the truck drive autonomously on the highway, maybe in a convoy, maybe in a lead manually driven vehicle in the front, get to that last mile, and then again having the person take over. As the technology matures even more, you'll be able to cover that last mile. So we see the technology being deployed in direct correlation to the complexity of the environment. Why Scottsdale? Why Arizona? The weather is perfect. It's completely flat. The roads are very well built. The lanes are very well marked. And it's one of the reasons that the companies find it very appealing to test in Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a very compelling first use case before you tackle very harsh environments, very difficult like San Francisco or New York, where it's much harder to drive in those areas.
You pointed out, and I think like so with Aurora and the trucking, I think Texas has been chosen, and other than the like Dallas, right? Lots of ramps and lane changing and whatnot. That might be the most challenging part of the drive, but otherwise, you got hundreds of miles of cruise control,
Exactly.
so to speak.
I think one of the most interesting things that we haven't talked about is Gen AI. I think generative AI, it goes beyond just autonomous vehicles and automated inspection and even robotics. I think that the renaissance that we're seeing today with robotics, the renaissance that with the renewal interest from the industry and venture capital that we're seeing in autonomous vehicles is largely because of generative AI. Specifically, when we're discussing our types of problems, we're talking about LLMs, large language models, for visual understanding. Okay, we want to use those type of deep learning models, very big language models, in order to better understand the visual or the sensory world around us, not just text, but computer vision, cameras, radars, lidars. And what we're seeing is that this also help us understand better in what the system is thinking, what the system is going to do, and this builds trust. This builds transparency. I saw before your conversation with Samantha and the fact that in Waymo, they show you what the vehicle is seeing. Okay, they show you, okay, the vehicle has understood there's a car right next to you. It knows where the lanes are. This is the expected trajectory, the path in the next 4 or 5 seconds. It gives you confidence that you are sitting in an autonomous vehicle, but the machine it knows what it's doing. It's aware of its surrounding, and you feel safe. Gen AI allows you to go even a step further. The combination between it sort of allows you to open the black box of deep learning. It's called grounding a model. Grounding a model is when you combine between text and image, or text and other type of modality, text and radar, text and lidar. Text is something that we humans can read, we can understand, and I can also convert text to speech, to audio. So it's sort of like the same thing in our conversation now. And when I combine, or when the system combines between text and an image, now I can have the system output what it's thinking about. It can literally tell me, I am seeing the vehicle on the right. I am going to turn on the blinkers. I am going to stop. I have identified the roadblock ahead. I am going to accelerate. I am going to decelerate, etc., etc. The system can output in a natural language way the decisions and the actions that it's going to take. And this really is going to build trust. I can, from two perspectives. One, the consumer, at the end customer using the application in the real world, and also, just as important, the developer. Now, as a developer, as an algorithm researcher, I have a way to peek into that black box And that is something that only Gen AI gives me. When you try to speak to a Fourier transform or an integral, they don't talk back. The algorithm don't talk back, but if I train a Gen AI model, it can talk back to me, and I can develop the solution with it together.
So you just made me think, okay, so if autonomous trucks could tell their drivers the right things, I don't want to simplify like humanity here, but if the truck could say, "Hey, I realize I'm going to be doing most of the driving today, but I got to tell you, here's what we're going to do. Here's what I'm also going to help you work on while we're headed down the road." Like, right, if the truck could communicate with the driver that feels like the driver that feels like they're losing control, if the truck could speak to them, communicate with them, and explain to them, actually, this is going to be great. We're going to have a pretty good day today. You won't get as tired. And by the way, I've even scheduled some, additional reading, or, this is a great idea. So if the truck could communicate that this is going to be great, that would probably be helpful.
Yeah, I think you took it even a step further than what I mentioned, but I think it's a very good feature. I mean, incorporating co-pilot-like features and having the ability to converse with your autonomous vehicle, which is basically doing mundane stuff that you would otherwise rather not do. But you take, instead of the driver's seat, you take the supervisor seat, and you have your autonomous driver communicate at any given time what it's going to do, why it's going to do it, and if you need to pay any attention, it can alert you to that scenario.
So then, if a driver of a truck could be more productive during the day, instead of having to wait till they park to then call home and work on the homework and the bills and all this stuff, but could be more, isn't that the purpose of the AI to begin with? To help us be more productive and do more within the day that we have.
Absolutely. There's always the conversation of, will AI displace jobs? Will it replace me as a worker? There are several let's say, philosophies to it. My 2 cents are that AI won't replace your job, not anytime soon, but a person using AI might replace your job. I think that AI today is like the computers back in the 80s, or the personal computers back in the 80s. If you are not using the most modern tools that technology has to offer, someone else will, and someone else will gain an advantage, and over time, they will replace you. So I think that Gen AI and AI in general is a very fundamental technology. It's like electricity. It's like computers. It's like the internet. If you're not using it, you will stay behind, or you will fall behind. And this is, in my opinion, true for every profession: blue collar, white collar, every profession. Maybe not all professions are this relevant today, but it will be relevant in the next few years. Give it time, give it a year or 2 or 3. Gen AI and AI they will find a way to disrupt pretty much every industry. And all of us, as part of the working force, we owe it to ourselves to be on top of the most cutting edge tools. Like in the beginning of a conversation, you mentioned that you started to use generative AI and AI tools for different types of editing, different types of usage in what you're doing. And I think this is an amazing example. This is staying on top of your game. This is staying on top of your profession. And I think that it's part of learning, part of educating ourselves, part of growing with our profession. And this takes different flavor for different types of professions.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not for everybody, and we also know that in every change, innovation, you have early adopters, then you have kind of the rest of the crowd in that bell curve rise, and then you have your laggards at the end. And then there are some people that, still don't use a computer. I mean, that sounds kind of crazy, but that's the curve we're about to enter. You said it very well. It's not that AI will replace your jobs. It's that somebody using AI will. That is very well said.
What you mentioned with it's not for everybody, and this goes back to the matrix that you mentioned in the beginning of the conversation. The funny thing is that the more the technology gets sophisticated, the less you as a consumer need to be minded of the technology behind it. Using Gen AI is much, much, much simpler than regular AI. And that is much, much, much simpler than complicated analytical solutions. Much simpler. The math is simpler, the algorithms are simpler, the usage is simpler, developing it sometimes is simpler. And you as a consumer, if you are able to speak, if you are able to write, if you are able to communicate in natural language as a normal person, you can be an AI, not expert, but you can be an AI user. So I don't think you have to be scared of it. On the flip side, you can adopt it and you find it very useful in several areas of your life.
Well, I appreciate that correction because you're right. And sometimes I'm trying to speak for in ways that, because I do believe that AI is for everybody. That's why I'm doing the AI Takeover series. But I understand the reluctance and the concern and the fear and the, then I'm going to have to learn this. And I mean, there's a lot of reasons why we do or don't do things. But what you made me think of is, but we all like the movie Back to the Future. And in the Back to the Future movie and other movies, we all love sci-fi. Some of us, I don't know, most of us. But in sci-fi, and especially Back to the Future, and movies that, time travel, anachronism, etc., we see answers that help us relay, or rather put away some of our fears. The skateboard scene with Marty, when he goes back in the 50s, and the kid's got the thing where you got to ride and you got the handles, and he rips that off, and he just jumps on the board of wheels and starts skating, and the kid's like, wow, you know what? That's how easy skateboarding can be. It's not, don't make it so complicated. And we have demonstrations through science fiction movies that futuristic items don't need to be as complicated as we thought.
No, even more so. We work very hard. UVeye is an AI company, a data company. We work on the R&D side. We work very hard to simplify it. We do all the heavy lifting. We do all the thinking, all the designing, all the user experience, etc. We do it constantly, every day, and we love it. But we do it so our customers can have a very easy and simple interaction with our product, with our service. So I think that the more advanced the technology gets, the simpler it will be to interact with.
I want to end with this because I wanted to pull this up, and I know we need to let you go. But this, when I look at the design of the UVeye system, I think, okay, right, you got all these boxes along the side, right? They look like servers or whatever, right? But it's very contained. Are all the brains right there in those boxes?
Okay, so we have several flavors to the hardware, and it depends on the customer. Usually, we do all the processing on the cloud. We upload the data to the cloud. We do all the processing very efficiently, very quickly on the cloud. In some cases, we can also deploy on-prem, on the customer premise, and we bring in very powerful servers, and we do all the computation right next to the scanner, right next to what you see in the image. All those boxes that you see on the left and right, those are a housing for one, the data capture, and two, for all the sensors and cameras. We take a lot of images, like I said, between 500 and 700 images per scan. And the boxes contain all the field of views and all the stereo cameras that we employ. A stereo camera is basically having two lenses, like our eyes. And this allows us to calculate the depth. We really calculate the depth of each and every dent and scratch and the treads on the tire. And we do that via computation. We do that via AI.
I gotcha. That makes sense. Now I feel silly because, right, all the work is done in the cloud, but that's the hardware that's required on site.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez, Jay. That's what I love about this AI series. All right, so I'm going to keep this going, but man, I can't believe how much time you just gave. That was a lot of information. Amazing conversation. I've got a ton of notes here. And we didn't even really talk about, I mean, I was going to say something about Tesla and robo-taxis. Somebody said to me recently, hey, are you going to own an autonomous vehicle? And I thought, well, do you own an autonomous vehicle? And you kind of got into, you know, the cost and things. There's a lot of things we don't know. But I will say, and this is another reason why I'm doing this, the more I learn, the more, I don't know, it doesn't seem so crazy. And I don't want it to seem crazy. It's just it's an acceleration of an innovation that's an inevitability.
Mm-hmm. I agree. We are on the right path. We're on the right trajectory, but it's important to make sure that we do it safely, we do it responsibly, and we take the time before we mass deploy. And I think the industry is on the right path.
Itai, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate you. Have a great day.
Thank you very
much. Keep in touch, and I really appreciate you. Thanks, Itai.
Bye-bye.
Okay, and I'll let you go and put him in the waiting room, and that's a cut. So, yeah, no, I got a ton of notes here. I probably have more notes than usual, and so I know that I think what I meant is learning about AI is not for everybody. Adopting AI is not for some. But the purpose of AI, I think, is pretty much for everybody. But he's right. We got to keep an eye on it. We don't need Skynet and all that craziness. So it's, yeah. And when he said Gen AI, I was thinking organic AI. And I think it's the organic AI. Like, I saw this video of two AI. So there were two phones, each with AI, and they were talking to each other. And yeah, it was strange. So, all right, well, listen, we got more AI coming up next month. I think that this is the deal. Thank you, Samantha. Samantha has got us on the schedule with Atul Patel of Orbi, and he's going to be our next contestant on the AI Takeover series on ATI. That's going to be in July. And if you're interested in talking about AI on ATI, I know that it can leave one with a bit of a dry eye, but I am in favor of learning more about AI. I want to thank everybody so much for taking the time. Thank you for your patience. One Auction View, AuctionVCommerce, Murphy Transport, and Superflow Systems. Thank you so much, UVeye. Another round of applause for Itai and Samantha Foster and the UVeye team. Thank you very much for sticking around and listening, and get the podcast. If you have any questions, send me an email. It's still autotransportintel@gmail.com. I will change that, I promise. I'm not sure when. But, and I will go ahead and run the car hauler. And I smell another video short about AI autonomous trucks coming to a LinkedIn or YouTube near you. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day. Good night. I'll talk to you soon. Join us Thursday on Industry Logistics. Take care.